Sonic City Council is now in session. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in your headphones, your car, your home, your mind. We appreciate you very much, fellow citizens. Davey Sipes.
Hey, Pepsi Flavorson. How are you, sir?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Hello. Wait. Citizens, it is I, Rasputin of Nazareth, telling you, watch out for the scaffold. Yeah. And see.
And we're in business.
Oh, I mean, and action.
And action.
Yeah. And action.
What's your motivation for today?
I can't tell you. It's my actor's secret.
Yeah, like a magician.
Yeah.
Keep it over here. Never.
It's right back here.
Yeah, never reveal it.
Yeah.
Good to see you as always.
Yeah, it's good to see most of you.
Yeah.
I forgot what your teeth are like.
Yeah, I have too.
But the rest of you is comforting to see.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to be talking creativity once again, and gathering and going through the process of being a musician, artist type at any sort of level or place in life. I like picking people's brains and examining where they're coming from. So,
yeah, this is our safe space where we can all get a little artsy and a little fartsy about the things we do.
Well, and that door's closed, so that'd be a little alarming if it gets to that place, but it's gonna...
Oh, I should have called it.
Yeah, that's all
right.
right.
All of mine are SPDs.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just watching this over YouTube, you'll be none the wiser. Or listening to it on Spotify if these nice lapel mics don't pick it up. You will be none the wiser.
That would be great when media catches up to that and adds smell.
Yes, absolutely. So before I get into the technical introductions and know-hows and all of that, thank you to Amped Music, helping to bring you this podcast. If you're in the Antelope Valley area looking for lessons, Davey is an instructor there. You can hit them up. They'll be happy to take care of you. Thank you again to our wonderful engineer, Max Taylor, for putting this episode together. We appreciate you so much.
He did it!
He did it! And yeah, thank you once again for tuning in. If you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe below, and spread the word. Tell your friends. And yeah, we appreciate you so much. So
buttons.
So, with this show,
I thee wed.
I
Gavel.
was gonna say, where's Max on the keyboard
you just
over
made
there?
Your own show.
Oh man, I was gonna say,
your
where's?
Parents are gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, hey, it's not a traditional relationship, but we make it work.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have people on this show, sort of at all different age ranges, points in their
Genders.
Yeah.
That's the genders.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All different, age ranges, careers.
Ethnicities.
Well, yeah. The goal is like, if you're really going to examine what it's going to be like as a musician, right, you have to go for people in any sort of position in life, rung of creativity or place. You have to go with just all sorts of different types of people, right? So, as much as this is having my friends on to bullshit and communicate, it's kind of a low-key little bit of an experiment for me in picking people's mindset and just going like, okay, someone who's made it and they're successful and they've been doing this for 30 plus years, where's their headspace? And then someone who is, only been doing this for a few years on like a DIY level, like where is this at? Someone who's balanced life with, career and family. It's like, where do they sit with creativity? So it's like, I like to, get all sorts of types of people in there. And this person that we're going to have on today is not only a good friend of mine and hilarious and always makes me laugh, but is someone that...
Friend.
Yeah, he is a good friend, and he's...
great. Yeah, you've re-qualified it.
He's stupendous, I would say.
Fair enough.
He's Peter McGuire from the Thrift Store Troubadours.
He is.
And for those that don't know, who aren't tuning in from the high desert area where we live, in the Antelope Valley, Peter has sort of been a staple in the local music scene forever. His band Thrift Store Troubadours plays on a regular basis and has a pretty substantial following. And basically, he's just someone that, I doesn't really write or think the same way I do, but I'm curious on his life perspective and kind of why and how he plays music. And so just wanted to get him in here and, you know, kind of pick his brain like everybody else.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think my personal charter for my side of the show is that it's about getting to understand, you know, people who I perceive to be my peers creatively, or at least my contemporaries, let's say. And the same sort of thing. I'm always fascinated. Time after time, there's going to be a series of interesting similarities between us all, and a bunch of delicious little differences to note too. And I think that's what we might find when we talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Who you once said was your great friend. I couldn't even say it.
Once. Long time.
My own fucking punchline.
Yes. Yeah. And also, too, I wanted to, like, even though I have thankfully, friends from all over the place, and I've gotten to meet people from all over the country and, you know, different places.
Friends in low places.
Friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases.
My blues away.
Oh, see? Still in my brain pan.
And you'll be okay.
I'll be okay. Yeah. I don't want to ruin this, you know, black T-shirt affair that we have going on. See? I mean, yours is more of a gray.
This be gray.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pulling from his sort of literary musings from earlier, before the part where he might be a little bit tuned out. Yeah. See, apparently he's crashing some sort of wedding and, like, stealing somebody's champagne and, like, inspiring fear in somebody's eyes.
What's happening in this
song? The verses are kind of weird in that song. We can get into that in the outro. That's outro talk.
I mean, I could have been told a little more clearly, but it's fine. not bagging on you, Garth. It's one of my favorite songs to play.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's
one of my favorite songs to play because it's how we close the night.
Yeah, it's a solid one. It's a solid one to close with. But I wanted to just not be exclusionary to, like, local music scene stuff, and, like, along with getting people in from all over the country, or other friends of mine or friends of friends. I want it to be like, you know, getting
I see what we're trying to say.
Getting some buddies in here, you know.
You have tremendous pull. You're a guy with connections. But he really wants to give some back to the community that he's very proud to be a part of.
Well, that's not the way I would have put it. But okay.
No, he said the little people in the little places that I hail from, and I was like, that's cool. I like that. I like the way you said it.
Well, thank you.
That's humble.
So before I've 1%ed my way out of this podcast, let's get into it. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Peter McGuire.
Was I supposed to do it too?
Oh,
it's fine. It's fine.
I think we nailed that.
How are you, Peter? Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, it looks like it.
It's glad to hear it.
Yeah, it looks like it, and it sounds like it. I have to say, the main reason why I wanted to have Peter on the show is not just because he's a great friend of mine and he's wonderful to talk with.
The hesitation.
Was it because I've been asking over and over again?
That was part of it.
That was a solid part.
That was a solid part of it. But I will say that I knew it was going to be great because of the tour banter that we've had, although it's limited, and you're one of the funnest people. Yes, it's a word now. It's funnest people that I've been privileged to share some tour time in a van with.
You should lean into tour banter.
Yeah.
Make tour banter one word. That's almost a humble brag.
That is one word.
Do you want to tour banter with me?
Yes, I'll tour banter with you.
Banter with you.
No, it's Peter is the person to where he will throw out, like, hey, we're driving somewhere in the middle of the night. Let's listen to a Maestro Man Randy Savage rap album, which I didn't know existed, but he did.
Huh. You're welcome.
Hey, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Wow.
Jesse.
Yeah, for those that are unaware, that is a album that was largely created, I guess, to diss Hulk Hogan, because Randy Savage and Hulk had, like, a beef, apparently.
This is way back.
It was way back.
It was back when I was a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It's like 80s, 90s.
So you know all about this sort of Hatfield-McCoy's feud that was going on back then.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, Peter.
I still can do an impression. I'm not going to do it right now.
Yeah, well, hey, some other time.
Some other time.
But yeah, when you're driving to Phoenix from Vegas in the middle of the night, sometimes you need a little pick-me-up, and he was kind enough to suggest that and go, hey, I want to share my music library with you. Here's my taste and where I'm coming from. So,
and then I promptly fell asleep.
You did. Like a proper troll.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
you guys
planted
listened
it
to
in.
the whole thing. No, I appreciate that.
We did. We did. And the best part was that there would be moments where you were starting to drift off, but then came back into reality, and you just started laughing and just hysterically, and it was awesome.
Of course it was.
That was a weird drive because I experienced sleep paralysis.
Really?
Yeah, it was super weird. So you were sitting next to me, and Donnie was in front of me.
Yes.
And leaning forward and talking off Matt and Miko's ear the whole time. And I was asleep, and then I woke up, but I couldn't move. Like, I was fully conscious, but I couldn't move at all.
Really?
It was fucking bizarre and terrifying.
Has that ever happened to you before?
Once since then, and it was on the fucking couch in the living room in the middle of the day.
Oh, that couch.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's
I heard that couch was haunted.
Really?
That's probably why it happened to you.
Probably.
Be careful, people.
Well, and that van was haunted too.
Oh, there's always all cars are haunted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the ghost
I
of
never tell you
tours
when you buy a
past.
used car how many times people have died in the car.
Well,
Like, I have a used car. Somebody died. Like 3 people died in the car.
well, yeah. So you don't know. I don't know where
I had to
that
get the
van's been.
Carfax.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it wasn't. They didn't die from car accidents. They just died in what?
No, it was like an axe murder situation, like a Lizzie Borden sort of thing inside the car.
Yeah,
How they cleaned it
understand
up
now.
that well.
Yeah,
it's
That makes
pretty
more
bad.
sense.
I want to abandon this.
Yeah, and then somebody's we that run of gigs for people that don't know. I went out on the road with Thrift Store Troubadours with Matthew from the Colonies, and we were doing a duo kind of a thing.
As a support musician.
Yes, so it was Matthew was playing and singing his usual wandering folk Americana self, and was singing all of his songs. I was doing like sort of bass accompaniment. And we were opening up for Thrift Store for a couple shows. And we all, like the adults that we were, pitched in and rented a Bandigo, which rents like Sprinter vans because we had a lot of people traveling with us. So musicians and friends. And so, yeah, I don't know what's happening.
2 separate classes of people that never mix.
No, never mix.
That was
Damned if they will.
That was a rad tour, though. We played 6 shows in 4 days.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, when I book tours, that's what they're like. But when
1.25
Jesse
shows a
books
day.
tours, it's one show 1,500 miles away.
Yep. We know all about that.
I was going to say, that has been a topic of conversation, and I will just say that is not testament to my tour managing skills or my tech skills. That's a testament to my stubbornness.
Hey, he's got a lot of
It
talent.
was a lot of fun, though, that
Don't
one
let
show.
him manage the tour. Don't let him manage
That was fun. And again,
Good Lord.
Peter being a perfect tour companion, we were...
Perfect Peter.
Yeah, perfect Peter. We
Perfect
were
Peter.
That's
about...
me.
Yeah. That is you. We were just crossed into Oregon, and we were, everybody was kind of asleep at that point and like wiped out from the day. And that's a perfect time to put on Meatloaf's classic, I Will Do Anything for Love, but I won't do that.
The longest fucking song in the world.
Yeah, and I always listen to the 11-minute, 12-minute epic version. I'm not going to listen to the single edit or whatever. I want the full Meatloaf experience. I want the whole meatloaf. I don't want a slice. So I put this on. Everybody's asleep, and then I hear around the 8 or 9 minute mark booming from the back, how long is this fucking song? And then the whole van was in stitches after that. And yeah, you've got this way about you, man, that's, just kind of brings that, humor to the whole van situation.
Well, I try.
Nice compliment. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You've always sort of had that sense of humor and that sensibility, even though like your music is kind of a contrast to that. And so, I don't know, I kind of wanted to ask you, For those that haven't heard it, I know you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go check out Thrift Store Troubadours. They're on Spotify and all the streaming services, and you'll be able to kind of hear where that dichotomy comes in. But I kind of want to get to know like where your creative process comes from, like why your writing tends to lean that way, but personally, like it tends to lean the opposite way.
Of what?
Just
Well,
like right.
I suffer from debilitating depression.
Oh.
And that's just kind of how I deal with it, is writing songs. And when I'm not writing songs, I'm making dumb jokes.
Good for you.
Way to kind of diffuse, you know, the situation or what you might be feeling potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is that something that you feel, because you've always been in band since you were a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So kind of talk us through a little bit about, you know, when you first started playing, what was kind of like your mindset, and then kind of, you don't have to go through every single detail, but yeah, I want to know like.
Or the small O.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
for
I've been in
origin.
12 bands.
Dang.
Really? I was going to say.
What are the names?
Yeah. In order,
Yes.
there was Something to Consider, which was a band I was in middle school. We played the talent show in 8th grade. Yeah.
Nice.
Then it was August Remembers.
Ooh,
Wonderful name, I
emo.
know. Yeah. And then we went through not really member changes. People just left the band. So we changed the name to Heroes of Analog.
Okay.
And then after that, I was in One Way Fair. Oh, I'm sorry. To the Stronger.
To
To the Stronger, and then One Way Fair. What came after that? Then it was
I think we got 6 so far.
Bullet
Yeah.
Tooth Tony.
Bullet Tooth Tony.
That's my favorite.
Rest in peace.
I was going to say, that's my favorite of the names so far.
Yeah. These are all trademark citizens, so don't try grave robbing.
Yeah.
You sneaky mothers.
Don't try and pull me at the beginning of the episode trying to, you know,
Yeah.
create a rival sort of weird alternate band.
Yeah,
alternate
we're looking for
universe.
rivals. You won't survive. Where were we?
We were on like 7
Oh,
or 8.
it's 6.
Yeah.
6. We were at 6.
Yeah. Something like
You
that.
said To the Stronger, and then I lost the one before that, or after that.
One Way Fair.
One Way Fair.
Yeah.
Now then what?
Then Bullet Tooth Tony
Bullet Tooth Tony.
and
Okay.
Villains and Dead Where You
Villain.
Stand.
Dead Where You Stand. Classic. Kind of westerny. That's a
Jay and the
western
Silent
band.
Bobs.
Yeah.
Jay and the Silent Bobs. I've heard of them.
Yes.
Like the band, though. Like you guys, I see that on a flyer somewhere.
Yeah.
One or two, I'm sure. And then I did the solo thing for a while. And then I started Thrift Store Troubadours.
Okay. And so when you started, you were more in the sort of metalcore, punk, sort of maybe pop punk kind of vibe, if I have that right.
Yeah, the early 2000s. Pop punk's a fair assessment. We were really bad.
Well, that's understandable.
That's where the punk comes in.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's justified then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
well-
that authenticity of the energy,
Yeah.
if not the technicality.
We were bad
Well-
at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an artour artiste choice, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's aesthetic all the way.
It's like, well, you could easily say, well, those are just splotches on a canvas. You know, it looks like you just took a paintbrush and threw paint on it. And then the artist goes, I know.
Yeah.
And then it's like a judo move. It puts the ball on your court because you don't get it.
I already don't.
Yeah.
You win.
Yeah. But yeah, it's, you know, looking at it, you were kind of playing a more aggressive form of music. And it's kind of funny because we have parallel stories in that. Like, I did a tally
Yeah.
at one point, and I think counting school ensembles and bands that I was in for maybe, you know, like 3-4 months, just for like a brief period of time, or bands I was in for a couple years, bands I was in simultaneously, I'm at about 14, 15, something like that.
I'm curious though. I feel like Peter's talking about original bands. Are you counting things like cover bands and like work stuff that we do?
Yeah, but there's only
They still
been.
count.
I don't count them. I don't count them. I don't. I like working with them, but I don't count them.
This feels like a South Park episode. Cover bands don't have souls.
Cover bands don't.
Easy with
Yeah.
the not having souls thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
sensitive
won't
to
go.
that.
I was gonna say I won't go in on that.
So that's many bands for you.
Yeah, well, if we're not counting cover bands, then I would be about 12 or 13.
That's still a lot.
Yeah,
That's an
'cause-
unlucky number.
Would you count bands that do originals and covers? So
Yeah.
to make sense. Okay, yeah.
Originals make the diff.
Yeah, so just pure cover stuff, I've only done like 2 or 3 of those bands.
Really?
Yeah, they've all been like, they've done both. So I'm at about 12 or 13. And like, I don't know, I think back on where I'm at now to then, and I just see this clear sort of progression. And not talking about.
So clear.
Yeah, well, because we're like, all of this relates to like, to some sort of personal growth, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you've toured a lot, if you've never toured, if you've only stayed in like a region, if you've gone all over the place, if you were signed, unsigned. If you're a musician, you're on that personal journey, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm just curious for you, dealing that we all have emotional stuff that we deal with. I deal with my own depression about things and emotional insecurities and stuff like that. Like, how have you seen that growth from when you first started as a teenager to now? And like, what are some things that jump out at you?
Well, when I first started playing music, it was, the same reason everyone else starts playing music is just because they want to be fucking cool.
Right.
I definitely wasn't, but I thought I was. And so I was kind of like in this weird spot in my life when I was like 24-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And my band had broken up, and I was just kind of frustrated. I'm like, I've been doing this forever, and like I was kind of burnt out, and I was like, I'm just not gonna be a fucking musician anymore. And
Right.
and then a friend of mine committed suicide, and that was pretty rough. He was a friend that we'd played music together for years before this, and we'd been in a lot of bands together off and on. And then we had a benefit show for him, to raise money for his family. And a bunch of the bands he had been in played this show, and it was so much fun. And I hadn't played those songs in forever or with those people in a long time. And it just kind of reinvigorated my love for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized for my own sanity, needed to keep doing it.
Right.
That's right.
And it's hard to schedule things with adults who have lives and jobs. And I got really frustrated doing that. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do the solo thing. And it was fun. And I could just schedule shows whenever the fuck I wanted, practice whenever I wanted, which was not very often. And I kind of, it was fun for a while, but I missed playing with other people.
Right.
And a lot of those songs on the split that I released with Matthew from the Colonies, I had written with the intention of being full band songs. And I feel like not a big fan of the acoustic versions of those songs, honestly.
Yeah.
But it took me a couple years to finally get Thrift Store Troubadours together, and we've been through like 8 members now.
Mm-hmm.
All drummers.
But we're this everybody. I'm the only original member anymore.
Well, that's another thing too. I think that like, I've ever actually asked you this. Have you ever done the band leader thing, or have you always just joined other people's bands? Because like I remember with Dead Rats, we've had Nate Dillon on this show, past guest, That was more of
Past guess.
well, yeah. I was gonna say past guest mentor to both of us. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. Nate's been a huge staple in the AV music scene. If you don't already know who he is, and recorded a ton of bands out here, mentored a ton of bands. You were in his band back in the day. I think that was a fair assessment. Have you done the band leader thing before?
I mean, I do the solo songwriting thing, you know, the disaster cabinet thing.
Right.
And Max is part of that, but I don't lead him anywhere. So I don't know. I don't think I do that band leader kind of energy because when I have tried a couple, and each time it's imploded because of where I was at.
Right.
Just like my lack of like being emotionally grounded enough to like be patient with people and like build them into the sort of situation I wanted it to be. I was like, well, people aren't responding instantly to, you know, things I'm not communicating clearly. So this is, you know, that's been my experience. So not really.
Yeah.
I always, because another thing is I always envisioned ever since I was playing when I was little, like I wanted a band like, not to sound like the Chili Peppers, but those guys all get in a room and they jam out the parts. They say, "Cool, we made another song." Like I always
you just wanted to
that,
play
like,
naked with a sock on your junk.
sock on my dick, and just get to it. Just slapping the bass, sock on,
with your own twist on it. Yeah,
you know? That's awesome, bro. But yeah,
yeah, okay. And so I wanted to ask you, for you, Peter, like, I don't know, do you like find any parallels with that? Has it been more like, because with all those bands that you mentioned, were you more trying to lead the charge on that? Was it just a bunch of friends, kind of like a collaborative thing? Like, what's your experience been with that?
Yeah, it's mostly just a bunch of friends. And I was the Heroes of Analog I was the singer in, but nothing after that was I the singer in. So I wrote differently. I didn't have to think about fitting a vocal melody to whatever weird guitar thing I was writing. I could just really focus on guitar playing and let other people worry about their instruments. And so this has been a lot different and a lot more challenging. I think it takes me a lot longer to finish a song now than it used to.
Yeah. And then so like, you know, with having a band, you do have, I think, more of your own voice. And I can hear that when you play, you know, and I can hear that with like the kind of music you listen to and the stuff that you write. I think it's more realized when you have a full band. But like you said, you go through these member changes and, you know, stuff fluctuates. It's hard to coordinate things with, you know, 3 or 4 other people that all have jobs and lives and stuff. What are some ways that you, I don't know, do you enjoy that band leader role? Is it just part of like the cost of doing business, I guess? Is it just comes with the territory of having your own band? Like how do you look at it now as like where you're at in life?
Yeah, it just kind of happened that way. I don't ever want my band members to feel like they're just hired guns or like their opinions don't matter. You know, I want everybody to have input and just be creative, because I don't know how to fucking play drums or keyboards, and it's nice to have people that do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and like you might be hearing some, you know, keyboard parts in your head that now, instead of having to either record it yourself or find somebody who would want to record it, you can just go to somebody in your band. You know, you can just go to, or same thing with bass too. It's like you can ask like, hey, I'm hearing this idea in my head, you know, and it's kind of just better serves the song that way, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I like that. No, I can't help myself, but when you said bass, like the first thing I thought was some dude being like in the studio being like, yeah, man, like not Peter, but being like, yeah, you ever heard the theme to Barney Miller? Can you play something like that?
Yeah.
That would be my nightmare. I'd be like, no.
No. Yeah, well, that would be like, as much as we've had fun playing together and doing band stuff, it's like,
I said it was fun.
Yeah.
I said it was fun.
I believe you. I think you had a good time, reasonably.
I tried.
Yeah, I tried. I don't know. That whole side of it's not for everybody either.
What's that?
Well, I don't know. I'm always like, part of why I
Playing
like
bass.
having people on.
It's not for everybody.
It's not.
No, it's definitely not. You know, some
hard.
Yeah, sometimes people treat it more intricate. Sometimes it's like, you know, just drums if they had 4 strings and a wooden neck, you know, and that's fine too.
Well, that's a good definition for it anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice way to look at it.
I think
That was very funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think big guitar was the other term that I had thrown at me one time. You play the big guitar.
The big guitar.
Yeah, so
I use that
don't know.
term frequently.
Yeah.
How old was the person who told you that?
That
Like
person's
under 10,
name
right?
was Omar Ruiz, who is a mutual friend of ours who also tours. And how old he is depends on
Depending
what you're
on when
asking.
in time this was.
Yeah,
right?
physically or mentally, how old is
Oh,
Omar?
well, he's 10-ish.
Yeah.
Mentally.
I would
Emotionally?
I'd say
he's-
so.
Yeah. Good guy. About 10.
That's I was gonna say just friendly slam on Omar, being that I love
Omar
him very much.
slam!
Yeah, love him to death. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm always curious about everybody's writing process, just because when people bounce back and forth between writing stuff on their own and the band, I'm always just curious about, is that a natural thing that didn't take much thought? Like, is it, you know, how is that specific band dynamic? How is it, you know, when you're writing, is it just a group thing, or is it just trying to more bring in, like, here's my idea for a part, or you do whatever you want to do? Like, everybody's different.
Furthermore, does the songwriting project have the potential to morph into something else? Like you start writing on your own and people come in to help you like thresh out the parts, but has anybody ever like started to write lyrics and stuff, or like arrange songs with you too? Or do you handle most of that?
I definitely I bring a completed song, you know, a chord progression, lyrics and melody to the band. Wow. And then they all kind of add in their parts, and if we need to move things around or stretch things out to make it make sense, we do that. There was I've asked for input recently, and Amanda, our keyboard player, sent me a finished song that's clearly about her relationship with her boyfriend, and she's like, here, you can use this for the band. And it's a fantastic song.
Nice.
And I struggled trying to find my voice in it, because I guess I'm a narcissist and mostly just write songs about myself and the way I feel.
You're gorgeous.
So trying to sing someone else's like clearly personal story, I was just having trouble with it.
No, it sounds tricky. I mean, yeah. And you're used to your own perspective, right? Like I heard a couple of songs, and after a while I was like, the lyrics and the nuance within them and the way you tell a story, like your imprint became very clear. Mm-hmm. And it's a sign of somebody who knows how to tell their story in their way, comfortably, productively, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, through a song. And then introducing somebody else's like life experience would totally like like if he brought in lyrics, that would be hard for me to sing.
Yeah.
If they weren't just like complete non sequiturs, I'd be like, I can't sing about happiness, you know, I hate that.
It's 3 movie references in a row, and then
That's all it'll be.
some
It'll be a
deep
bunch of
philosophical question, and there's no rhyme scheme.
I'm so scared.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know if that's narcissistic to say that you only write from your perspective, because the more I've been lately diving into just how writing works, either from just writing stories or writing, you know, anything, like the common theme is like write what you know is like kind of a building block of all of that. So some people can create these whole fanciful worlds of like writing about some other place or thing that doesn't exist.
Yeah, we know you love Harry Potter.
Right. And so, I mean, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm glad you're
You're
here
a
too,
wizard, Jesse.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm going to do a Harry Potter themed tribute band, right? And so I figured, obviously, we got
Hagrid over here.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you can play drums or sing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you play drums, but we need a drummer. Oh, see, there we go.
Hot diggity. You look like Jim from My Morning Jacket, bro.
Dude, you need to do that more often. That was impressive.
I do.
Yeah,
normally.
that
It's
hair
just
came out of
fucking
nowhere.
hot. I'm hiding
Yeah.
in the garage because there's nowhere in the house that's quiet.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So you got
You
good
got kids?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have mine sequestered. Somehow the mic's not picking him up. He's screaming Disney tunes in the other room.
Yeah, I was gonna say at Max's place, there's sort of like a room with a
place
couch.
where kids can be kids?
Yeah, I
You're
was
right.
gonna say a green room with a couch, kind of
It is.
vibe.
This
yeah.
place has a green room. It's pretty
Yeah,
swag.
yeah, it's sort of
I
know.
stuttered.
Yeah, yeah.
I got so excited.
So yeah. What were we talking
What
about?
else?
No, I lost my train of thought. I had
Oh,
a
it's
bad
right there.
podcasting moment.
I think you were talking about Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna.
The pizza's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.
I'll admit it.
I was gonna say, don't they serve beer there? So that's like oddly like a place where adults could hang out minus any kids.
You know, not to get really technical, but
Well,
that
you-
really depends on like state, county,
You could just go to Dave and
civil
Buster's.
ordinance. Like for example, you know, like some counties are dry and you won't get beer at those Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, you could just go to Dave and Buster's, or you can take it to the next level and watch an animatronic rat dance around for a little bit. I want
You know,
I want to be.
Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup is the voice of Chuck E. Cheese now.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
He started doing commercials, and yeah, it's fucking wild.
Well, hey, COVID. It's a weird time. It's a weird time for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awkward. No, that's funny.
Yeah. No.
Nah.
I don't know. Yeah, coming out of COVID, I think is weird for everybody. Whether you're bowling for soup and now you have to voice an animatronic rat pizza chain, or you're just even trying to get back into the swing of rehearsing and practicing and writing again, maybe, if that hasn't already been the case. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if it's that he had to be Chuck E. Cheese. I think he wanted to be Chuck E. Cheese.
Some people have big dreams. He dreams big.
Well, hey, there's an open invitation on this podcast. Get him in there and he can defend himself, so that way we're not slandering this man. Maybe that's his favorite pizza chain. I don't know. I don't know this man personally.
I don't know. You're sticking up for him a lot. Maybe he pays you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, am I a Chuck E. Cheese shill? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, you know, I don't call names. I make connections. I see this.
Yeah. Has that been weird for you coming out of this period with COVID and like practicing?
Yeah, you got
again
tour
and-
dates coming up, man.
Yeah, it's
Isn't that weird?
I really struggled for a while. At first I was kind of excited. I'm like, yeah, I can have some time to just, focus on writing, and that just didn't happen. I never got any time off work, and it was and then not really being able to play was a blow. And when I'm not playing music, I get depressed, and when I'm depressed, I don't want to play music. It's fucking shitty, but you kind of just gotta force yourself to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't force yourself.
Same boat for me this past year, all the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I pushed through it and found ways around it.
Yeah.
But it was that same.
Yeah,
sort
some
of
people
thing,
have
though.
managed
it's
to
a
be real
it's a roller
productive
coaster.
and-
I've been so comfortable inside. I've been having constant panic attacks about the idea of things going back to normal because I really feel like I got a sense of how deeply people suck in our country.
Yeah.
Over this pandemic, and I'm just like, I don't want to go out in public with none of them.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. And again, Peter, too, you made a good point there that some people turn this into a really productive time. And for me, that was kind of about I'd say 2/3 or halfway through the year, where I was coming from the same place where you were on it. I play music, and that gives me motivation to, play music for people, like playing shows. And that gives me motivation to, write and practice and all of those things. And so when that went away and there wasn't any potential this is just going to come back in a couple months, or you're only taking a couple months off, then it's okay, we'll keep working through that. When it's just left ambiguous, it was from March to August, I didn't play that much. I just kind of put it down. And it was weird because then I went through that whole well, do I really like doing this? And well, of course I do. And I just had to figure out that, oh, well, I've always been working on getting a set ready or writing songs so that we could get these done and we can start recording and performing them. And like, it's to do a thing. And when the thing went away, it's like, well, why do I do this? And then now I'm in a totally different boat where I just like practicing and doing all that because I genuinely love it and want to get better instead of just thinking about like, oh, I want to get good so I can play better gigs, or that the band could sound better, or the band could be tighter. And it was kind of like, I had to go kind of back to like when I was in college and when I was really practicing and grinding. And that kind of shifted, you know, over time. Which is weird to talk about, because it's like, if you say that, it's like, well, are you really into this thing? And it's like, yeah, I am. I just had a weird, different perspective, you know?
No, that resonates with me a little bit, because I like to hold things askance and look at things a little abstractly and be like, I don't want to treat it too preciously. I'm practicing for the sake of practice itself. Because that's one of the best practicing. That's when I play things the best anyway, is when I'm just kind of like concentrating, but not really mindful and not thinking about it. Like goal-oriented shit always ruins the process for me. It slows me down and it gums me up. That's why the hardest part is always the technical stuff, like finishing the cover art to put this record out. Everything else is done, but I'm just like, I don't want to pay anybody else to do it. I also don't want to lift a finger looking at it right now. I'm just like, fuck you, cover art.
Yeah, right,
like, you know?
Yeah. Well, what about you, Peter? I'd be curious how you feel about that. Has that been more of your thing of like just kind of practicing for the band or playing for the band that you're in, or were you kind of more on Davey's side of it where you're practicing just to practice?
I went months without even touching my guitar or singing at all, and
damn,
it was rough. And I was like, I need to start fucking doing this again because I'm losing my mind. And so I kind of, you know, forced myself to do it, and my voice was just fucking gone. And I have kind of a big sort of gritty voice, and I couldn't sing the way I used to, and it took weeks of almost daily practice to get it back. But yeah, I definitely need, I don't know if goals are the right thing, or the right word to use, but like I need, if I have shows booked, then I'm more likely to practice for them.
Gotcha.
But yeah, not having shows, I was like, well, what's the fucking point, you know? And like, I know that makes me sound like not a real musician or whatever, like you said, Jesse, but like, you know, it's a whole thing, you know, it's not just, you know what I'm trying to say? It's not like just playing shows for the sake of playing them, or like it's, you know, the only social thing I do is play music.
Yeah, no, I get you. And that's why I think it's important to talk about that, because there's this sort of, I think there's a perception of what it means to be a great musician. And there's like this sort of stereotype of like, you know, like that movie Whiplash, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
I boycotted that movie.
Did you?
I tell you that?
No.
Well, we can't all be...
It's not like in a political way, but I'm just like, I don't like the idea of it. It's dumb. Like, I don't.
Okay.
We can't all be
like
Dave
the idea
Hodrick
of bullying somebody into being better is just like, yeah. It's like he could have got just as good by sitting by himself, just rocking out.
I was gonna say we'll do some. We've never done it before, but we'll do some Daily Show shit where we just pull that segment out of it and then be like, David, your witty retort at the next round table, and then he won't have one. He'll just sit there in silence and.
It's unfair how talented David is, but he also works his fucking ass off.
He does, yeah. He has spoiled me, and I would never say this in front of him because I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. But he has spoiled me as a
weird relationship.
as a musician. He has for sure. But it's
you're talking about Hodrick, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah, Hodrick's dope.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you say it.
Yeah, I love you, Hodrick.
No,
your drumming is dope.
It is.
This place is a zoo. Streaming, right?
Yes.
Rogue the band, streaming everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Recording now, right?
Yes. We've been over, my band has been over here at Max's place.
How are you not a shill if all you do is enthusiastically say yes?
Hey, you're getting through the layers of the onion over here, episode by episode.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I feel like it's important to talk about that because we're all trying to get to the same place, I think, for the most part. And some people have to do this by meticulously, grinding on something every day. Or if you grind on something, you might be focusing on a specific aspect of it. Other people function really well in a band setting. So they're just trying to be the best songwriter they can, and they're trying to develop their voice, not just singing voice, but their musical voice in the best way they can. So everybody's going to have a different process in that. Like, I need a goal of, okay, we're going to record and I have shows coming up and we're going to be doing this. So there's something on the calendar. And then I go, I need to work on this every day. Like, without a structure for me, that stuff just falls by the wayside. And it sounds like you're kind of the same way.
I'm the same way for sure.
Yeah. Whereas other people, and it's not that I don't love to do it. I love it. It's my life's pursuit. But it's still, there's something about the way my brain works to where not having anything on the calendar, it's like, well, I want to be playing for something or for a purpose. And when I'm getting ready to, even with getting ready for something, it still fills me with like so much joy. And now, like, the good thing about this time is I've had to go back and go like, oh, well, I need to just be playing this without anything on the calendar, just wipe all that away. And like, I'm just working on this because I really want to hear myself get better and not because like, oh, I have this other group of people that I'm playing with and I need to like make sure that my playing is on point for that and like my songwriting is good and all those other things.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of adapting to both perspectives, I guess.
I feel that. I guess like part of my thing is like I try to keep a very like consistent regimen of practice because that way I used to always get nervous about anything like getting a gig and then having that feeling of like, oh, now I have to cram to prepare.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm not good at cramming for things, but I am good at things if I give myself time to just really absorb them. Of course, I have to make bass playing gestures when I say a word like absorb.
Yeah, absorb them.
I'm holding left-handed. Yeah, sorry, that's weird looking.
Absorb them.
Don't do it like that. That's weird.
What? It's upright.
Yeah. Right-handed.
Jesse,
yeah.
you just
That's
look
how I
like a
played that
monkey
part.
when you do that, Jesse.
Yeah, it looks like you were scrambling for bananas.
Like a
That's
baseball.
what I do for every. That's what I do for every gig.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
Is that your warm-up? Like pre-gig
Sure.
ritual?
Yeah.
All right, pre-gig rituals. Do we have them? Yes or no? Peter first. I don't care what you think.
Yeah, I need whiskey for sure.
Whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
McGuire needs a whiskey before his gig.
That's racist.
It is.
No,
I'm Irish,
I'm not
so it's okay.
comfortable with public speaking.
Okay.
And being a front man, that's kind of a thing. It's
Right.
like playing music is fine because it's practiced. I know what I'm going to sing and how I'm going to sing it, but I have to like just talk. Like, what the fuck? I can't do it sober.
Right. Right.
That's heavy. I mean, I like to get loud. I like to get figured out.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know. And that's another thing too. Everybody's different. Because so much of my playing is like psychological, and it's all about like I'd say half of it is.
I think the term is
drama?
psychedelic.
Yeah, no. He means like a psychological drama.
Yeah,
right?
well, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. On a side note, when we were doing tour chat, getting ready for that run, the 6 shows we did in that short amount of time,
Yeah.
we had a group Facebook thread going, and we were just dicking around and
Oh, it was
talking
chaos.
about. Yeah, it was just chaos mostly, and then like 10 or 20% planning. And then I had thrown out a joke, sort of a Family Guy reference, saying, who's got to hook up on some toads, like psychedelic toads, right?
Yeah.
I've never done toads. I've never known anybody who has a hookup for toads. But apparently, I think it was you or somebody else immediately responded, well, if there was one person in the band that looks like it would be you. And I had a whole realization about myself that I hadn't beforehand. Like, oh, I guess sort of that quasi-Allman Brothers look that I have just sort of lends itself to toad wrangling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's...
Totally.
Is that... It's funny, though. It's like, where do you draw the line? Is it you because we see you, or is it our own biases?
That's where I draw the line.
You know?
I don't know, man. I think it might be part of it's that. I don't know, man, using that at the end of the sentence. That's not helping my case.
One of my stereotypes about you is I look at you and I'm like, there's a guy who has one of those buckskin jackets with the fringe in his closet. And he
also has the denim jacket with nothing but Bob Ross buttons on it.
Yeah.
I don't know where that jacket went.
And they're all different buttons.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I didn't know that many Bob Ross buttons existed. Bob Ross buttons. That's a fun thing to say.
Hey,
Bob Ross buttons.
Sometimes you're doing a gig in Ventura and you wander across a store that's just got a tub of them in the front, and I went, yes.
Is it that weird fucking vintage store with that like alien out front?
No, it was one of those Rocket one of the soda places. Rocket Fizz. Yeah. It was a Rocket Fizz.
You found a bunch of Bob Ross buttons in a Rocket Fizz?
Yeah. Yeah. They were in a tub.
Oh.
They were just in a tub like by the register, like when it's extra shit. Like I bought my soda.
God didn't just leave that there for you.
I feel like it was a sign, and I took it, and I said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a happy little accident, as he would put it.
Yeah. Oh Christ. Oh, it burns.
Yeah. I think that's a solid pre-show ritual. I can't personally drink before shows because if I drink and I make one mistake, then I'll be like, oh, that's why you shouldn't have had that
Then you
drink.
feel bad.
Yeah, I feel bad, and then it will be a spiral of mistakes after that. So I just try to avoid it.
Like it'll psych you out a little bit?
Oh, I totally psych myself out.
Jeepers.
Mm-hmm.
See, I make a lot of mistakes anyway. So if I've been drinking, then that I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But there's a sweet spot where if you have too many drinks, you just think you're the fucking shit.
Yeah, right.
They call it liquid courage for a reason, but like,
hell yeah.
And then you watch a video the next morning and you're like, oh God, it's so bad.
Yeah, no. For me, that's always liquid crippling self-doubt because it's like if I have a couple beers and I feel loose and I make mistakes, then it's like, oh, well, this is why you shouldn't do that. And so half my job before a gig
you drank, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the dialogue in my head. So like half of a gig for me is just making sure I feel comfortable. And part of that is just practicing and preparation, and part of that is just making sure that like I'm present and like there. Even if I'm just playing fucking Mustang Sally or something, like 3 chords and simple stuff. Like I just want to be there and focused on it, and I will have way more fun than if I like try to drink a beer or a shot and get loose or whatever.
I don't appreciate the Mustang Sally slander.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying we had a whole episode about this.
You did. I'll play the song.
She wants to do.
I'll play the song as I'm paid to play it. I have no biases against this Mustang or her Sally.
Yeah.
When I was 21, I worked in this bar that had a karaoke night every Thursday, and it was the same 10 people singing the same 10 songs, and Mustang Sally was always one of them.
Oh man!
Is this guy named Gary? I'll never forget him. He was super nice. This biker dude, and he would always fucking sing Mustang Sally. Great song. Man,
I saw it in your eyes.
I
was gonna say you took me there with that facial expression you just had.
I literally visualized a dude like whipping the mic around singing.
Well, the great part about any time you hear a story like that involves those songs, doesn't matter who the characters are or the setting. We've all been there if you've ever been to a bar where you've heard those songs a million times. So it's just like
I was just there yesterday.
Yeah. I was just there yesterday. You did a couple tours of duty during that karaoke session, that gig.
Yeah, no.
What was it? I don't even know what it was.
Oh, it was just 4 sets at the bar over here in Lancaster, but it was almost like back to normal because it's
gotcha.
like they built an outdoor venue like a lot of places have done now.
Oh, so right.
Where was this?
Big Shots, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So, it's always just like part of the day's entertainment. Later there will be a DJ.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever else.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's the same with me. When I was doing the heat of cover band gigs, there was usually a DJ involved somewhere, either like between sets or after you get done.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the same thing. These songs, and they just become, like weird hymns that you hear all the time. I don't know if you can call, Mustang Sally a hymn, but I just did.
A spiritual?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you asked me, of course, about my pre-show ritual.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pre-show ritual, which is get there in time to slowly load gear because I'm old and fragile. That's very fucking important because my 412 cabinet is super heavy and I hate it. I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah.
And then you have to smoke the right amount. You have to make sure you don't smoke too much because then you come down hard in the middle of your show. But you have to smoke weed. And the other thing is that I like to practice while everybody else likes to mill around and just kind of like hang out and commiserate before a show. I want to be right next to my amp. Like I literally just lately at the last couple of gigs, I do what I always do at home. I throw on my fucking Spotify and I go to songs I've been practicing and I bring up the PDF or the sheet music up on my phone and I practice for real.
Interesting.
Because I'm just like, what do I want? Like you know how you don't want to screw up.
Right.
I want to feel warmed up because then the machine runs itself. Well, I need to step from playing to playing for the people. That's always been something, and it's just lately in the last year or so have I finally gotten like, give yourself that. Do that. Don't just sit around saying, I wish I was practicing. Right. You go up there and practice, and it's not like I have my amp on mute and all that shit. So that's my ritual.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's solid advice. I like to do that if I'm not on the road. I'll do that, but if I'm just doing like a one-off at home or whatever, I'll do that usually before I leave the house. Because once I get there, I don't want to once I get there, I want to do exactly what you were talking about, mill around and hang out, because that keeps the whole keeps me pretty level-headed and calm and all of that.
Well, you like to socialize.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a
Peter.
Yes.
You like to socialize at the gig, pre-gig, post-gig?
Yeah, most of the time.
All right.
When we're on the road, though, if there's not a lot of people there, I feel uncomfortable because stranger danger.
Stranger danger.
I weigh 300 pounds. I wouldn't want someone to try and kidnap me.
No.
I worry about you.
Yeah, I'd be worried too. Do you feel stranger danger more when you're playing solo or with a band?
Solo for sure.
Yeah.
Because there's just fewer of us there.
Yeah. Well, but I'm wondering, with the band, you might tend to play like a rowdier place because just the music is that sort of kind of country, really loud rock stuff. But with the solo stuff, I don't really know what kind of places you're playing. If it's the same places or different spots.
It's the same, but also I can play smaller, quieter places because they don't realize that I just yell when I sing.
Yeah, fair.
And then they're like, "Can you turn down the mic's not even on?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I played this. What was it called? The High Note Cafe, I think, in Boise, which had maybe 6 tables in it. It sat, 24 people. That was it. It was tiny. And I just did my thing, and it was uncomfortable for the people working there.
Yeah.
It was a fun show, though.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, is that more you just feeling like it was uncomfortable, or did somebody actually say something?
Oh, no one says anything to me because I look terrifying.
I think you look like a gentle giant myself, but that's just me.
Well, that's because you know me.
Cuddly.
Yeah.
That's the adjective I'm thinking.
No, I get you. But then again, that goes into apparently I'm like, hey man, and that's the bias that I might carry with me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Did you just do an impression?
I already told you what happens.
Hey man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey man. I play the big guitar.
You guys looking to score any toads?
Where can I find your toe brand?
Under my buckskin jacket.
Yeah, my buckskin trench coat. I didn't know they made one of those.
Right? Buckskin trench coat. Oh, shit.
I got to be careful
when get one made for you, dude.
Oh, hey, please. Hey, well, Christmas is coming up.
Because I always said I fear you in a trench coat.
Yeah, well,
I still do.
If it was a tan, fringe buckskin trench coat, you wouldn't fear me so much. Yeah.
You don't want to fuck around with a black trench coat.
No.
Yeah, no.
Well, because there's only two things underneath a black trench coat is naked guy, and I look like I could potentially be a streaker.
What's the other thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Detective? I don't know. Someone standing in a parking
There's a
garage.
detective.
Someone
detectives
standing in a
can be
park.
naked.
They definitely can be. I was gonna say, I don't know, a guy standing in a parking garage with info on Watergate or some other scandal. I don't know. Yeah. Anything else? I don't know.
One of those guys.
Yeah, one of those guys. I don't know. All right. I've never owned a trench coat for that reason. I can't live my life to the fullest extent. You know.
See.
You've only owned a trench coat to be naked under it?
For the feel. It's okay to say that.
Well, I
It's
mean,
sensual. It's okay.
there's not much difference between a trench coat
It's got
and a
a
robe.
satin lining.
I was gonna say robe and a trench coat. There's a fine line between the two.
There's a gentlemanly line.
Yeah, it's a gentlemanly line between the two.
Indeed. Wow.
Yeah. Well, hey,
What you gonna do?
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? What can you do?
Well, I know what you can do.
What can we do?
Something else I wanted to ask. Not a great segue, but hey, it happens.
You killed more people with your segment.
Yeah. Hard right turns going off of an on-ramp. When talking about touring, I wanted to ask you this because this is something I've been experienced before. I don't know if you're always driving or if you're in a point where you can sort of like ponder, life and circumstances and stuff. But I found that like when I'm not driving and I'm just sitting there, I might be in a talkative mood. But then when the talkative mood goes away, then I'm usually staring out the window. I end up in this weirdly like reflective place. And as someone who also has sort of like depression and stuff like that, that can like almost be like an isolation sort of float tank scenario where it's like you have the white noise of the van and you sort of tune everything out and you're just sitting there for long periods of time. And I just like go into my own head. Like, does that ever happen with you with touring, or are you kind of just focused on what you got to do?
No, I just fall asleep.
You just have sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just always tired. So
That's it.
anytime it's
You heard it here
quiet.
first, citizens. Peter's always tired.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
But I mean, that's fair.
well, yeah. Well, and
Because what you described, I'm like, I empathize, but I don't think I feel it. I'm thirsty to be on the road. It's home where I feel what you described.
really,
That disassociative sort of mindset, because traveling, especially if it's on something like a tour, then it's only for one sort of thing, like the thing I like doing. And,
Yeah.
And there's a lot. I'm just very self-oriented mentally anyway, so to me, that's never like. It's a place where I can easily turn and be part of a conversation, but I can go right back to whatever weird dark crevice I was crawling through.
yeah, sure. I guess I would sum all of what I set up by like.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, by just saying introspective is the word I would put on it. So that could easily, it's gone in a positive direction, and I just have like my iPhone notes out, and I'm getting a bunch of ideas, and just literally from having a change of scenery, not having anything to do for hours at a time, it can bring a lot of creativity out of me, and it just like, it spurs a lot of thought out of me. But yeah, I don't know. Some people, it's like maybe not as much. That might not be the most introspective place.
Well,
So
sounds like you need an
Yeah, that's
Nintendo.
definitely where most of my song ideas happen, is when I'm driving to work at 3 a.m.
okay,
Oof.
okay. Is that a long?
That's early.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Well, there's not really too many people out there, so I guess it is sort of
No.
like, yeah,
And
feels
so it's okay to write while you drive.
right.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah,
minds.
and not text it into your phone. Type it in there. You can
Type
actually
it in there.
just you pull a comp book out on the steering wheel with a pen, and you just
Oh no, I
jot
use
down
it
your
on a
ideas.
laptop,
That's smart.
Oh, there you go.
and I set it
Yeah.
on the dash, and I type.
Yeah,
while I
you just
drive.
bust out the air book.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of curious about.
Wow.
I'm kind of curious about that now. Talk to me a little bit more about these 3 a.m. idea writing inspirations that happen.
It almost always is a single line of lyrics and like a loose melody. And then I just kind of build around that. And that's partially why it takes me so long to finish a complete song, is because I'll get an idea for a single line, and then I just sit on it for a month, and then I think of something else that'll work with it or whatever. And in the notes on my phone, I have just pages and pages of single lines. Sometimes I've been able to like piece them together and morph things so they make sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
So is it kind of like you get a couple of those and maybe try coupling them together, or how does that next step usually? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll usually find the vocal melody before a chord progression, because the vocal melodies are always the harder part to write for me.
Oh yeah.
So that comes
that makes
first,
sense.
and then I find chords that fits it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's always been my difficulty too, melodies and
Yeah.
lyrics.
Well, why?
Oh, well,
Not
just,
to put you on the spot, but what's difficult about it?
well, lyrics for the most part, just because I always just find them either to be too corny, or it's just trying to find, I don't know, trying to find what I want to say and putting it into a song form. I know what I want to say, but it's actually getting it in some sort of like meter or scheme or something has always been my difficult.
Sometimes you got to
challenge.
embrace the corniness, though.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's how you
so
end up
corny.
with 10 Fast and Furious movies.
And hey, none of those are not making money.
They're entertaining as fuck.
I don't know. I've never.
I haven't seen them all,
partaken.
but I want to.
Wow.
I want to.
What do you think, Jess?
I mean, you're opening my eyes to a whole lane of creativity I hadn't imagined before. Is
Am I?
intentional corniness.
Yeah.
Bruno
well,
Mars
yeah.
does it. It works for him.
That's fair. It does work. I
Wow.
And if it's good enough for Bruno Mars,
mean, what is
it's good enough for
corny?
Toad Wrangling Jesse.
Yeah. Toad Wrangler to the stars.
Yeah. What is corniness? I don't know. I mean, any of
How
these
do you
terms.
qualify it? How do you qualify it?
I don't know. I mean, I would only have to look at myself. I couldn't judge anybody else's work, right? Because, like, I don't think Bruno Mars's stuff is all corny, and I think the stuff that is kind of like fun, and it makes up for whatever sort of cheesy sentiment is in the song. So for myself, I don't
You're
know.
amazing just the way you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to judge that purely on my own.
Though, anything you write that you think is corny, I bet it's not nearly as corny as you think it is.
Yeah, but again, I guess that also has to do with just self-perception, though, and getting into kind of this other stuff that we've been talking about.
Well, like I say, if you let me read it, I'll tell you if it's corny as fuck or not.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
What I think corny is?
Well, yeah, because you're kind of in a writing sense, like sometimes you write stuff that's more fun and goofy, but other times it's more serious and introspective. So where's that line for you?
The line is kind of all over the page at the end of the day, but I think I apply it differently to different things that I'm making.
Yeah.
For sure. Lyrics to songs are all born for me out of personal experiences, and I color them darkly because I remember them darkly. And but you know, everything else I'm doing creatively, if I write a story, a lot of times it's like, it may be like graphic violence, but it'll still actually be comedic. It'll still be a short story that's humorous.
Okay.
You know, so I find that the juxtaposition of both at the same time is more interesting than trying to draw the line on something like that. Because I think corny is something that's just in the eye of the beholder. I think that's something that the people who aren't creating get to decide, and I leave them to it in a sense. I would hate to worry about whether I'm creating something that's like, if I think it's corny, then I could also turn and say, as an expert as we all are in our field, well, that has a lot of commercial potential. We could make some fucking money off that. That's not a bad thing necessarily.
Right.
You know? So that's my take on corny.
Okay.
It's like back in the 90s. You know, it's like, you remember how it was. It's like if you were a sellout in the 90s, it was like, you know, like people would stop listening to you, like, oh, you got signed to a major label. Now
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
stupid.
cool anymore. It's like, I was like, nowadays I don't think anybody thinks of that. It's like, make your fucking money. You worked, you put out something. It's like, that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think corny is whatever. It's the audience's decision.
Yeah, that's pretty subjective. Yeah, that's a good point.
That being said, you know I find you corny as hell with your puns and shit.
Yeah, well, goes without
But I
saying.
love you.
I love it.
Yeah. And
So-
here we are.
Yes, and here we are. Something I did want to ask you about, because again, I don't get a chance to pick somebody's brain and I will call you this. I don't know if that'll make you uncomfortable or not. I would call you a writer now, because you actually are working on a book with one of your other passions. So I want to kind of get the overview from you on that, where you're at with that project, and just sort of that separate passion of yours.
Well, I enjoy writing. I like fourth grade, I won an essay or a short story contest.
Nice.
I got a ribbon and everything.
Oh, fuck yeah. Get that ribbon.
You never got
I never in school I never took any like creative writing classes or anything. But I like telling stories. And I I don't know how many people know this, but I'm a chef. I went to culinary school. What feels like a million years ago. And so that's what I do for a living. And so I a friend I made some a meal for, and she asked me, she's like, how did you make this mac and cheese? Like, can you write a recipe for me? So I just fucking made it. I don't know. So I wrote this recipe that was more of a story than a recipe, and I was like, this was kind of fun. I'm going to do this again. So I did it with a few other dishes, and I was like, I should probably stick all these things together, and I don't know if I'll ever do anything with it or not. And so I sent some stuff to Jesse, just because he's a journalist. It's funny, we're talking about you at band practice today, Jesse, and we called you what did Amanda say? A professional journal man, I think.
Yeah. That's accurate.
I'm going to make you some business cards. Say, Jesse, professional journal man.
Please do.
All the email addresses and phone numbers on them are going to be wrong, though.
Of course. I put down 1060 West Addison. 1060 West Addison? It's Wrigley Field. Sorry, Blues Brothers, go ahead.
Oh, my God. That's a deep one.
But yeah, so I sent some stuff to Jesse, and he was like, you should sort of like arrange things, figure out an arrangement of how this makes sense. Like
right
that sort of ties it all together.
Fix it.
So I
sent it to the professional journal man. He went, right fucking better. Get in the Yuba and go to a writing school.
You gotta get a lift through the Yubas.
Yeah. Sorry.
So Jesse's like, you need to start at the beginning. So I started writing, which I don't know if I've sent anything to you lately, Jesse. I don't think I have.
No.
And I was like, I guess it makes sense to tell these stories about my perspective of these dishes. It makes sense to also tell my story, which I don't find all that interesting, frankly. But I just kept fucking writing. I wrote like 20 pages, like literally from like birth to like 10 years old. I'm like, this is too much. But I figure there's, more to cut out that way or something. I don't fucking know. You got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think it's the interesting factor of looking at life from somebody that has two passions. So you're into music and you're into cooking, and they both have this sort of parallel that's weaved in between
I'm also
each other.
into toad wrangling.
That's
Toad
true.
Wrangler.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Well, that's a separate book. That's a spicier book. That's more of a how-to sort of toad wrangling for dummies kind of a book, really.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was looking at it and like it doesn't matter necessarily if you think your story is compelling or not. You kind of just have to tell it, and telling it in a way to where, food and your story of how you started cooking was the subject matter, but the theme of it is the passion for the cooking. So it doesn't necessarily have to be some crazy story of I went to New Orleans and then I almost got eaten by a crocodile and that's where I learned to love beignets. It's like, no, you just have to keep
in there, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a good fucking story. Don't leave it out.
Well, right. Well,
I'm confused.
well, yeah, then if you want to write I don't know, action novel, fan fiction or something like that, or I don't know, some sort of science fiction, but people eat croissants or something, sure, you could do that and throw a recipe in there, but I think it just, you working on that is kind of...
cheeseburgers.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got to kind of just keep grinding on it and working on it, and then you'll figure out what it is as that process happens. You can't, if it's the same thing as writing a song. If you get too caught up in, I want to do this, and it doesn't happen exactly as you're writing, if it doesn't happen that way, you can go like, oh, well, see, I knew my story wasn't good. I knew this wasn't a thing. I knew this wasn't a thing. But, yeah, like if you started off writing a song, you wanted it to be this whatever style, have a feel.
Yeah,
went in a totally opposite direction, then you don't want to can that song because it didn't go the way you wanted it to.
No, but it's pretty rare that even happens because normally the idea for a whole part will come all together, and then I'll be like, man, I sure do want to turn this into a whole song, but I have to wait. Until the next part reveals itself all of a sudden all together.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything, I was curious, with you sitting down to write it, that kind of revealed itself about your passion for cooking or stuff you hadn't thought about in a long time or made you think about things in that way?
Well, there's a lot of parallels between food and music as art forms. And I'm very much a blue-collar kind of guy. And so thinking of food sustenance as anything more than fuel seems kind of silly, just at an instinctual level for me. But it very much is an art form, and there's they're both live music and food. They're both temporary, and it's a different experience for everyone. It's not like we got all fucking go look at the Mona Lisa, and who gives a shit? It's just some lady.
In a weird way, that was deep.
Yeah. Fucking arms crossed, waiting in line.
Wow.
Gets there for hours, stands there for 10 seconds. It's bullshit.
Like it does nothing for me. It doesn't make me feel anything.
Right.
But like food and music move me, and fuel me, and they just make me happy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can relate to this a lot.
Mad relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to cook professionally. I got burned out on it long ago.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, a factor. One of those things is that, like, I got burned out on music, too. I stopped doing music for 2 years and did nothing but a day job, raising the kiddo and all that garbage. That was a very rough time. That was when my mental stuff almost took me over. So, you have to get, you have to figure out what's really good for you. I still cook for myself, but the idea of cooking, like, for a living, wow. Because that's so much work. Don't you work, like, 6 days a week?
Only 5. I'm in a pretty good spot. I work for an aerospace company, and I run a cafeteria, which sounds really unimpressive, but I have complete freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to do.
I used to cater for the places around here, for the aerospace places. So
For sure.
I know what you're talking about. They're not an easy crowd to please. Y'all are picky! We ain't naming names, but y'all motherfuckers know who you are.
But it's rad because I work mornings, I don't work nights, I don't work weekends, I don't work holidays, which is the opposite of the food industry.
Yeah.
And it allows me to do things like play music after work.
No shit.
Because after work is no longer 2 a.m.
God,
Right.
You got it right. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, because seriously, that's one of the things I encountered in, working in restaurants for years. It was impossible to balance the two. Like, I lost jobs because of Dead Rats gigs and appointments,
Right.
and then there was the stress of the commitments to that band, trying to keep jobs I wanted. You know? So
which is
I
weird
relate to that
because
totally.
the stereotype is musicians work in the food industry so they can be flexible enough to do their gigs and keep up their art and all of that, and you find it's kind of the opposite. It's like really doesn't work that way.
The opposite is because we're not the stereotype of somebody who like shirks their responsibility and walks off of the job to go do their own thing. That's part of the stereotypes. That we're like, oh, cool, we're self-involved and we're lazy.
Right.
So we couldn't possibly be putting in any work.
Right.
Why was I management then for 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Because some asshole, I'm dumb enough to care. That's why.
Yeah, for sure.
I stop. I want to ask him something about food. So, Peter, what's the weirdest animal protein that you've ever cooked?
Weirdest animal protein.
Like most exotic, let's say. Least endangered, most exotic.
Balut.
Balut. Oh!
Wait, what?
Oh,
It's
balut.
a fertilized duck egg.
It's a fertilized duck egg.
Ooh,
And you boil it like a hard-boiled egg, and you just crack that shit open and sprinkle a little
sprinkle
salt.
some
and eat it.
vinegar and
It's
go to
the worst.
Feathertown.
That's a
That's
delicacy.
no, it's a dare.
Well, no, I was gonna
It's a dare
say.
that you're bound to lose.
Well, isn't in some cultures that's considered a delicacy, right?
Yeah, I
It
think
is, for sure. It's very big in Southeast Asia, for sure.
Yeah.
In Vietnam, it's like a delicacy, but in the Philippines, they just eat it all the time.
Yeah, it's like every day.
So is it like, what's the texture of that? Is it?
Like a
chewing
dead
up
bird inside of an
baby
egg. I mean, sorry.
That's chewing up a baby bird.
Yeah.
Wow.
It mostly came to life in there, and then they stopped that from happening. So you could enjoy both chicken and egg.
So is it like something you have to cook exactly? I'm guessing it's not forgiving to cook
Well,
it.
it's just an
It
egg.
is. Yeah, it's just an egg.
Oh,
You gotta
okay.
understand, it's like something like that small in terms of an animal is like almost the entire thing is edible, like the bones and stuff. You just crunch up the whole thing.
Crazy.
You don't really notice any bones in something like that, but you do notice the down, which is the feathers on the outside.
Wow. Ugh.
You get to
It's
pick them out of your teeth.
You
Shit.
do.
That's a gaggle of textures. I'm picturing it.
Yeah. Well, it's
Gaggle.
like,
No, they're not geese, Jesse. They're ducks.
You see what I did there?
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jesse's like, I'm so upset by this.
No, my brain is kind of on pause thinking about just that whole experience.
Eating a
because I
baby
like
duck.
That's the reality of like food across the world, is just like making use of what's in nature and stuff. And
Yeah. And
finding you like something.
yeah. Well, I knew that was a thing. I just more observed some foods like that as a third party where it's like, oh, that's interesting that you do that. But then I actually just put myself in the mindset of eating that, and it's like, would I do that? Could I do that? If Peter made me like balut surprise at his house, would I eat it? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you can always refuse something here, but I think if you go there, that's definitely like
Oh no, I wouldn't.
anything you're offered if you're abroad is like, because the thing about that is people offering you food like that in most places in the world, it's like that's their whole livelihood and everything they go into is making that meal, so you're like totally being honored.
Oh yeah, no, that's somebody else's house.
So you choke the shit down, homie.
Yeah, no, it's somebody else's house. You don't want to disrespect that. Yeah, no,
There's
that's interesting.
a woman I went to culinary school with who her grandfather was a celebrity. He was a movie star. I won't name names, but she was.
Can
I
I guess
think her father
one?
was an
And you
actor,
don't have
too.
to
I
say
can't
yes or
remember.
no. Can I guess one?
I'll give you one guess. Yeah.
Alan Arkin.
No.
No. Okay.
It was Bob Ross, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm intrigued,
No,
and
no,
you
no,
have
it was-
my attention.
Jesse's
wasn't
dream
Bob Ross.
grandpa.
But,
He's a television star.
I guess.
At a very young age, this friend of mine was traveling all over the world, and was, like you said, they were honored, and they were fed things like monkey brains, and the way she described it sounded a lot like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chilled monkey bird.
Oh wow.
And they
wow.
and they cut the snake open and smaller snakes,
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit's gnarly, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're ever at a barbecue at Peter's house and you want to spice it up, you might get some cooked balut, potentially.
Welcome to Peter's House
No.
of Balloons.
Yeah.
31 flavors.
Peter Balut would be a good band name, I feel like.
Peter
Ugh.
Balloon. It'd be a
Yeah.
good stage name.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just sounds like a good artist
Hi,
name.
y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Do you have, I was going to say, is that like a tentative project for you with the book? Is that something that you want to...
When's the release date?
I want to read
Not
it.
really sure. I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. And I haven't worked on it in a couple weeks. It was just sort of a release, and I was having trouble finding the motivation to write music, and not only the motivation, just the inspiration. And I figured writing something was better than writing nothing.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's Wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
As will.
Well, I hope at least by bringing it up on this podcast, because I was interested in it when you sent me that draft of it, I hope this spurs some continued inspiration for you, because I'm definitely looking forward to kind of seeing this mixture of music and food and, / cookbook and recipes and all of that. Like, I'm intrigued by the whole process.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever told you how obsessive I was once, but I have I have a collection of probably almost 100 cookbooks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no clue.
Yeah. I still read them all the time like a nerd. Not cooking anything, just reading them, just for the fun of reading about the processes that go into different things.
Well, hey.
So I want your book to be on my on my really busted ass bookshelf with the other ones.
He
Peter.
wants 101.
I want 101 cookbooks, just like the movie.
Yeah. Exactly like the movie. Cool. Well, I think it's that time.
It is that time.
Yeah.
It is that time.
Peter,
Didn't
thank
even
you
get to
so
talk
much.
about the dead rats.
Oh.
Which ones? Like the ones in the crawl space? I'm.
I was gonna say that's Davey territory.
What,
I don't
Rats,
know.
what a great band. What a fun time.
My
Great people.
So I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me, and when I was 10, he started taking me with him to live shows because he was dating some girl, and my mom would be like, "Take your brother with you."
Wow.
And I saw the Dead Rats quite a few times,
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
and that was before I had started playing music. And one of the first shows I went to was the Dead Rats Plasma, I think, with a Z.
Oh, wow.
And the pinups. It was at Cedar Sinai.
Wow. Yeah.
And the
That was,
guitar
like,
player for
my
Plasma was like using a
first-
wah pedal, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
I forgot about that. Pinups and everything. That was like my third or fourth show, I think.
Wow.
That was early days.
That
think
is crazy,
Chris
man.
Constable was in the band at the time too. I can't remember
Oh,
exactly
every
who
time you
else
say
was
that
in it.
name, it fills me with rage. Chris Constable.
I love Chris.
Nah, he's one of the best. He's one of my favorite people to go on a long trip to nowhere with.
Perfect for getting on this podcast.
Yeah, no, it's about time. He'll nerd out. He's the kind of guy who knows about a lot of different
Do
things.
it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so you saw them quite a bit back in the day, huh?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that always that trips me out about just it being such a small scene that like you can just have weird connections with people, or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon from people where it's like, oh really? Like you saw my band a ton back in the day? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's super cool.
I
Yeah.
saw the Dead
Yeah.
Rats at the old Schooners in probably 2002,
Oh, wow.
and Nate his cell phone rang, and he answered it like just on stage.
Yes, he did.
And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, wow, that was really funny. And then fast forward a few years, and I did the same thing, and I'm like, that wasn't funny. Oh no.
It was funny the way Nate did it, though.
Yeah.
Because he did it to be like, he did it at the crowd. Like, I don't care.
At the crowd,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember if that's the one where he let me dress up like a samurai finally, or if we were still doing, because we always dressed up like Bible salesmen. That was his thing.
Oh, nice.
That's why we always had like the clip-on ties and stuff, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that
But
is
then I was
great.
like, I wanted to jazz it up. At one time at Schooners, I dressed in like full like kabuki gear, and it was like face painted.
I feel like I would.
And they were
remember
all
that.
the regular, and like so wrong. It was like, what band are you in?
Nice.
Not theirs.
Right.
That's good times.
Yeah. So, what were you gonna say, Peter?
Oh, I feel like I would have remembered Samurai. I don't. That's not a thing I remember.
Yeah.
I just remember Nate's curly ass hair.
Nate had hair.
Yeah.
He must have been wearing a wig.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He had like curly. He was wearing a wig?
Must have
Definitely
been.
wearing a wig. That motherfucker been bald since day one.
Since the birth.
He was bald in junior high.
Yeah.
I think it was thinning in kindergarten.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Now
I'm
you
sure
got-
it wouldn't put. Yeah, he would do stuff like that.
Yeah. No, he's done a bunch of crazy stuff on
Nate,
stage.
if you're keeping up with episode to episode, can you wait? And you've got a strong memory.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say I'll have to shoot him a text after this and get some clarification.
Don't. Let's see if he responds to this.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us,
man.
Peter. It was a blast to have
Thanks
you
for
on.
having me.
Yeah.
Peter.
Real quick before you go, anything else you want to say? Plug sort of Jerry's final thought. I give the floor to you.
Who the fuck is Jerry?
Oh, Jerry Springer.
Yeah, that was like the
yeah.
FDA required amount of moral fortitude you had to have at the each end of every episode.
That was pretty cool.
My
You just
favorite
did.
moment.
I never watched Jerry Springer.
Only when I was sick at home as a child.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, like guilty pleasure.
Yeah. But I don't know, any departing message, things you want to promote, plug, whatever. The floor is yours, sir.
When is this airing? I don't know
Tomorrow.
if airing's the right word, but
It's airing later tonight.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
You're
you'll
really
be
coming out of the
you'll
wire on
be.
this one.
I was gonna say you'll be hot on the presses with this one.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. The 22nd, we're doing a live stream event with a very limited live audience at the AV Art Gallery.
Ooh.
Awesome.
On the 29th, we're playing with some weird band called Rouge or something. On
yes.
Rogue.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I heard
there's
they've
an
been banned a
exclamation
lot.
point. Rogue.
Be careful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
playing the May 29th at Guido's at the Hangar in Rosamond.
Oh, that's too far. That's a shame.
And, yeah, that's all I'm gonna plug at the moment.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
awesome.
That's fair. Well,
Upcoming geeks.
yes, there'll be some more info on the AV Art Gallery and the shows that they're doing in the description.
Up there.
Up there, down there,
I
up,
moved
down,
it.
side to side.
You'll get it.
Do-si-do. It'll be in there. There'll also be links to Peter's music on Spotify and all that good stuff. So, and his Instagram and whatnot. So please check him out. Give him a follow. Give him a listen if you have not already. So thank you so much, Peter. And I'll see you at that show, I think.
For
the
sure.
29th.
Thanks, guys.
Wouldn't it be weird if you didn't see him there? Though?
It would be weird. It would be weird
But
if
you
we,
were both there.
hopefully. Hopefully we will be both there.
I'll have to be there just to see if that happens.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it, brother.
Talk to you later, guys.
Go to that domain at your own risk because I don't know what's there,
Who knows what sounds await you?
and neither does Max. So, I enjoyed that conversation.
Good time.
Yeah,
This guy's a good hang. He could replace you.
you good.
And I mean that in like a nice, like, that's not easy to do, and it'll never be done. But if, you have a skiing accident,
Oddly specific misfortune.
whatever.
Yeah.
Peter, he's got that strong co-host energy.
I know, you're just trying to cash in on that podcast insurance money that we have.
I mean, I do have a $250,000 policy on you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
You know, that common thing, podcast insurance.
That could set me up for a long time, Jesse.
It could.
You know?
Be set for life, as they say.
God forbid anything ever happens to you, my dear friend.
Well, I might be traveling and doing some road stuff this summer, doing some work. So if that happens, then I don't know, maybe guest host coming in. I have no clue.
You know, we've never not closed the door on that possibility. I mean, and you, again, because you're a man who's just so extremely well connected, such a mover and shaker in the music industry. You know, when I think back like about the time you let me talk to your good friend Gary Ellie.
Please go on.
I got nothing.
We were talking about toad perception earlier. This is a whole other layer underneath that.
That's a whole other layer.
Yeah.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Peter comes in here. If we figure out some way to work that, if we just put a lot of episodes in the can, as they say, ready to go, I don't know. We'll figure that out as time goes on.
I mean, I think the citizens would prefer that you stay on screen as much as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Apparently, I'm going to be going skiing in the near future, and apparently it's going to be very misfortunate for me.
I was trying to think of some shit I know you don't do. That was the point of that.
But you're very persuasive.
I'm not inviting you skiing.
But you're very persuasive.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, I do like to go skiing.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come up anytime.
And you know I'm an oddball, so I'm like, skiing in the summer? It's like, well, how could I say no to that?
You would, actually.
It's like, wow, let me ponder the philosophical implications of skiing in the BAM! And then I'm out. I'm done. So I get taken out.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm not saying yeah to that. I'm saying yeah to you're saying words.
I don't know. I'm on to you at this point.
Oh.
But yeah, that was.
First time somebody ever said it to my face.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Cool.
No.
I'll respect you more now.
Been working on that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time, and I'm just kind of excited to be seeing more friends. And like you mentioned, we're doing a show together at the end of this month of May, and so I'm excited to be seeing more of Peter and hanging out more.
I'm legit excited for that.
Yeah,
that'll be cool.
I'm
trying to be at that show for real.
I was gonna say I know it's a distance, and I know you know.
I mean, it's like 15, 16 miles from my front door, probably.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I can swing it.
It's the extra mile if it was 15.
If it was like 14 or 15?
Yeah. 15
or 16. Like, really?
Well, then that's another, you got to add that difference back. So that's another, like, 3 or 4 miles out of your way.
You're talking me out of going right now.
I'm great. Hey, if you want to be talked out of something.
Are you guys going to live stream it so I don't have to go?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're going to try to do the old-fashioned nostalgic idea of going to a place and experiencing things in real time.
Oh, live streaming in person?
Yeah, live streaming in person.
What did we call it?
Yeah. I don't know. If there was only some way to capture that being alive in the moment thing, you know, like a shortened version of a word that's in there already. I don't know.
I don't know. What you're describing is like augmented reality, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freaking me out.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you once again, citizens, for tuning in, for listening to my blather, for listening to our endless conversations. We appreciate you very much.
Hey, proud of you. And hey, you sat through this. Good job. Good on you. We were entertaining.
You get a cookie.
We're all cute.
It's in the mail.
We got cute for you.
Yeah.
Cookie in the mail. Cookie in the mail. A cut thing. Cookie in the mail. Bye-bye.
Sonic City Council was created by Jesse Davidson and Davey Sipes and engineered by Max Taylor at Desert Sound Studio in Palmdale, California. Thank you to Disaster Cabinet for the outro music. Intro music written by Max Taylor. Sonic City Council is produced in association with Amps Music Academy and the Showcase Venue. For more information, visit theshowcasevenue.com.